The B&M Surf Coaster. We have been speculating about what it will be and when the first one will open, but do we even realize how important it really is? Today I will explain exactly why the B&M Surf Coaster is bigger than you think. To understand the surf coaster, we need to look at B&M first. B&M came on the scene back in the 90s with their revolutionary stand-up coaster model. At the time, the model was a huge success and led them to build the floorless model followed by the sit-down invert and dive models. The B&M Invert coaster was a model like no other. It is the reason B&M is what it is today. The model was revolutionary for its time and some are still getting built now. The Invert really took off with B&M, having installed so many to date you can barely count them. At the time, the B&M Invert was a staple attraction for an amusement park. The smooth track and the trains hanging underneath, letting your feet dangle, it's the perfect experience. The classic loop with the visually appealing coaster going right around it, the Invert was a model like no other. Their hypercoaster model did great too. They went on to build a whole bunch of them, each better than the next. The hypercoaster turned into the Giga, but each coaster a capacity machine that was extremely smooth and reliable. As a wise man once said, you can never go wrong with the B&M Hyper. Even now, these models continue to open up around the world. In 2020 alone, Orion, a B&M Giga Coaster, opened at Kings Island in Ohio, and Canobie, a B&M Hyper, opened at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. A model that is so successful is one most coaster manufacturers can't brag about. The Dive Coaster was another model they released. It didn't take off right away, but it happened eventually. The coaster started being placed into parks all over. First one, then the next. The dive model is a huge crowd pleaser, and the rides managed to draw in lines years after they were built. Next, the Flying Coaster. The Flying model was a smashing success too. It finally did what all the other flying coasters couldn't do, and it did it better. You get onto the coaster in a standing position, after which it tilts you upward into a flying position underneath the track. The ride then starts, giving you an experience like no other, all while being a smooth and reliable capacity machine. It took the company some time before rolling out the next model, but when it came, it was a masterpiece. The Wing Coaster. Letting riders hang on its two sides, the Wing Coaster gives you a feeling like no other, with no track above or beneath you. The coaster is also one of the most visually appealing coasters as well, and has some of the best near-miss elements any coaster model could offer. The model did great and led to B&M's first in-house launch done 100% by them for Thunderbird, which opened in 2019. Only a while later we found out that the Surf Coaster was coming out. Slowly we got more and more information. At first it was just speculation, but then track was spotted at Seeworld Orlando. The track had markings on it reading SF-A. SF as in surf, and A meaning the first one to be built. Later, B&M filed a lien on Seeworld claiming they weren't being paid for what was called a custom launch coaster. Now some thought this meant the Surf coaster was a launch coaster, but I think it may be something else, and Seeworld just ordered that model with the launch, like Holiday World did with Thunderbird. Otherwise, why wouldn't it say Custom Surf Coaster? The Surf Coaster is B&M's next big model. They needed to be as big or bigger than their previous models. Back in the 90s, they were able to sell their Inverts and their other popular models over and over. But now the sales on the older models are dwindling since so many parks already have 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 B&Ms in their park. The only way it's possible for B&M to stay in the game is with a new coaster model. Here it is, the Surf Coaster. Will it take off like the other models? Who knows, but the most important thing for them is to sell as many surf coasters as possible. The Surf Coaster is much bigger than you think. It's not just another coaster model, rather it's the latest major coaster model they released since 2013. The future of B&M actually depends on the success of this model. If the model succeeds, it will give B&M enough money to conduct research on future new coaster models, leading to more sales in a positive feedback loop. However, if the model doesn't do as well, it could cause B&M to have to wait longer before producing a new coaster model. The Surf Coaster doesn't only matter for the future of B&M, but it matters for the future of all B&M's competitors. If the Surf Coaster becomes a fail, other manufacturers will receive some of the B&M's customers. Let's take Cedar Fair for example. They have a very good relationship with B&M and have purchased many of their coasters. If the new model shows to be a fail, Cedar Fair may look to other companies and establish new long-term relationships. If, however, the Surf Coaster is a smashing success, it will continue that relationship between Cedar Fair and B&M, leaving less opportunity for Cedar Fair to go to other manufacturers for a new coaster. Knowing what we know today about B&M, no doubt I'd say their Surf model will be a success. B&M is known to do everything perfectly. Their smoothness, their reliability, their capacity, they do it all. B&M did it for all their coaster models until now, so why shouldn't they do it for the next one? The coaster world gets bigger every day as more companies enter the scene, making more and more coaster models available. Some models are great, but never get bought. There's also the small chance that the model never makes it off the shelf. Overall, I think the Surf Coaster is a lot bigger than you may think, and will play a very important role the next decade of coasters and the future of B&M. I have faith in B&M, and I think the Surf Coaster will be one of the best models ever built. I'm working on a video detailing my predictions for the B&M Surf Coaster, and though it seems it may be a launch coaster, I have an interesting theory as to what it will be, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos.